future, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, November 4th, 2025. Happy government shutdown day number 35. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Election day, if you believe in such a thing. I've lost my faith in democracy. Sorry to tell you. I did not vote in this fake Prop 50 election over here in California. I don't think I'll be voting anymore in any of it because there's nothing to vote for. The government is a crime syndicate, and so they're not getting my consent anymore. Their spell's broken over me, and so I'm not going along with this anymore. Not going along with this anymore. What do we got today? We have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us. I screwed up my scheduling. He was supposed to do the whole show today, but turns out my duties are next week, not this week. So expect a full show from Thomas next week on Tuesday. But today he's running shotgun with us to go through the news of the day for you. What else do we got? The government shutdown, the back and forth. It's the Republicans, it's the Democrats. No, it's the government. They're all working together to F us over. Maybe someday, some way. Nah, America won't figure it out. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. There was another plane crash. There was a crash. It wasn't commercial, surprisingly enough. It was a UPS plane that just crashed a few hours ago near Louisville Airport. As they're bringing in new aviation control systems at the FAA, they're not paying the air traffic controllers, and on it goes with that disaster. I blame the Democrats. I blame the Republicans. Well, guess what? It's your government. Dick Cheney died today at, 84 years old? How many bionic hearts did he have? You know what I mean? It's just beyond. On the radio, they said he's a great statesman and patriot for America. What a bunch of bullshit and lies. Dick Cheney's going straight to hell, and that's just the truth. And I'm not going to mourn him or even give any good words. Dick Cheney's a genocidal, homicidal maniac, okay, that deserves to burn in hell forever for all of the damage that he's done to America and the rest of the world, for that matter. And so millions, yeah, due to his policies, literally millions of people are dead. We'll go over that. But yeah, burn in hell, Dick Cheney. Burn in hell, piece of shit. Excuse my French. It just pisses me off that now we have to act like, because he died, and even before he died, they're like, oh, he's a great man. No, he isn't. He's not. He's just simply not. He's an evil bastard, genocidal, homicidal maniac. And that's the truth. I mean, I'm going to start cussing right now. It just pisses me off how in America here we have to paper it over when someone dies and act like they were good. He wasn't good. He simply was not good. All right, what else do we got today? We've got more technocracy news. Got a little report here on technocracy. Are we going into Venezuela? Are we going in there? Looks like we are. I don't know. Trump endorsed Cuomo. Show you how fake it all is. Trump endorsed Cuomo. I guess Cuomo's running as an independent now. Disgraced, had to resign as governor of New York for sex abuse scandals, but not and then he actually apologized. I think we have the clip of terminating Granny during the medical intervention. Yeah, he finally apologizes for terminating everyone's grandma during the bat time. So, yeah, and Trump endorses them. So there you go. There you go. Oh, everything's rigged. Literally everything's rigged. Your politics, your voting, your elections, your economy, all your sports games. Last week, we had the big bust by the FBI busting the NBA for gambling, right? Now you got this report, UFC, multiple fighters confirm they've been asked to fix fights. Everything's rigged. Everything's corrupt. We try to paper it over here in America and the West. It's naked. The emperor has no clothes. It's a disgusting, corrupt system that will not be reformed. And F you and your vote if you think that matters, because it doesn't. What else do we got today? We have geopolitical news as per usual, and the genocide continues. There's a ceasefire. It's going well. Vance and Trump have told us, well, they're stacking bodies of Palestinians today, bombing, and heavy artillery fire being reported into southern Gaza. It's going on right now. They're whacking people, saying we got a ceasefire, stacking the bodies. It's where we're at, man. It's where we're at. All that news and much more on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Let's go to and isn't it fitting on this election day for America? Stupid ass 2025 in between year. But isn't it fitting if we go take a look at our dark occultist satanic calendar, November 4th, Satanic Reveals, where the dark occultists celebrate through sexual rape. Pick your hole there, oral, anal, vaginal, of females 7 to age 17. Celebrated today by your probably much of Congress, probably all of Congress, probably all of the government at this point are celebrating this high satanic holiday of Satanic Reveals, carrying out ritualistic ceremonies to serve their god, Satan. It's quite horrific. And so yesterday we named a bunch of presidents that were elected, and today we got a bunch too. And that reminded me, oh, by the way, in your great democracy of America, every president is related. So, i.e., through bloodlines, i.e., monarchy, i.e., oligarchy, i.e., tyranny, but we're free in America. So every president, even the half black one, Obama, half white one, Obama, all of them are related through bloodlines. As the genealogy research has been done, we played the clip here before on the show by that high school student out of San Jose, California. And others have also done the research as well. So every president in America, except for Martin Van Buren, is related through their bloodlines. So there you go. Democracy in America is a total farce, lie, just like our elections, just like all of it. It's a fraud, scam, spell that the dark occultists cast over you. On this day in history, going back to the year 1646, on November 4th, Massachusetts uses the death penalty for denying that the Holy Bible is God's word. Word from Massachusetts there, 1646. In 1841, on this day, immigrants crossing the Great Plains, the first wagon train arrives in California after a 5.5-month, 1,730-mile journey over Sierra Nevada from Missouri. That was quite a perilous trip. So we do celebrate those great explorers on this day, 1841. 1845, on this day, first nationally observed uniform election in the United States, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. In 1946, one of these bloodline-related presidents here in America. 1856, James Buchanan was elected 15th president of America. In 1862, on this day, oh no, I missed a day, 1846, excuse me. Let me go back for a second. 1846 on this day, horrifically due to the Civil War here in America, American inventor Benjamin Palmer from Meredith, New Hampshire, patents the artificial leg. That was because they had to amputate a bunch of limbs during the American Civil War. Now we're straight, I think. And we fast forward here to 1873 on this day, dentist John Beers of San Francisco patents the gold crown. You may be pulling out your gold crowns and selling them for food here shortly in America. In 1884 on this day, Grover Cleveland was elected president. In 1921 on this day, the brown shirts are established by Adolf Hitler. And he went on to the brown shirts who were the thugs, of course, street thugs that helped bring him to power there in Nazi Germany. And of course, he threw them under the bus at the end of the day, as is customary for the revolutionaries that bring these dictators to power. 1924 on this day, Calvin Coolidge is elected as U.S. president. 1939 on this day, the first air-conditioned automobile, a Packard, is exhibited in Chicago, Illinois, 1939. Quite a breakthrough for luxurious automobile traveling. 1939. 1952. On this day, Dwight D. Eisenhower elected President of America. 1979, on this day, we saw the Iran hostage crisis kick off. 500 Iranian students loyal to Ayatollah Khomeini seized the U.S. embassy in Tehran, taking 90 hostages for 444 days. 1980, on this day, and in large part that led to the election of Ronald Reagan. He was elected President of America 1980 on this day. In 2008, our first half white president, black president, half black. Well, we don't even know what he is anymore, but Barack Hussein Obama, Barry Soetoro, born in Hawaii, Kenya, Hawaii. We don't know. We don't care. He's half black. That's good enough for us. Community organizer, one-term Illinois senator, came out of nowhere. Looks like built by the intelligence agency, Barack Hussein Obama, Barry Soetoro. We don't know if his wife's a man, woman, space alien, furry. We just don't know. It doesn't matter. She's black, so good enough for us. 2008, Barack Obama elected president on this day. And in 2019, we saw the largest mass commutation in U.S. history when 462 nonviolent inmates are freed from Oklahoma prisons as part of state prison reforms. And then we take a look at our civil liberties history. On this day in our civil liberties history of October 4th, the National Security Agency was created on October 24th, 1952, began operating on this day. The agency remained a secret for 25 years and was jokingly referred to by insiders as no such agency. Isn't it hilarious? The government lied to us about the secret spy agency, the NSA, for 25 years, and insiders called it a no such agency. It's just hilarious, isn't it? The head of the NSA, for example, did not testify before Congress until October 29, 1975, as part of the Senate Church Committee investigation into abuses by intelligence agencies. The NSA is notorious today for illegal wiretaps ordered by President George W. Bush and exposed by the New York Times, December 16, 2005. Even greater illegal spying by the NSA was exposed on June 5th, 2013 by documents leaked to selected journalists by former NSA contract employee Edward Snowden. The revelations from Snowden-related documents led to the intelligence reform law on June 2nd, 2015, which marked the first time Congress actually scaled back U.S. intelligence gathering. If you believe that, I got no such agency to sell you. And so, yeah, it's just, they're spying on it. They're gathering all our metadata right now, all of our electronic communications. And I know if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. Don't you worry. They'll pass a law tomorrow that said what you did yesterday was illegal, retroactively enforce it, and probably execute you with a drone. That's where we're at here. But keep on saying, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't care. Lenny Bruce, radical comedian, convicted of obscenity in New York City on this day in our civil liberties history in 1964. Comedian Lenny Bruce was arrested for obscenity. He was arrested many times in his career on charges of obscenity. Lenny Bruce's radical and politically oriented style of humor savagely attacked American hypocrisy on sex, religion, and race. Many believe that his arrests were provoked more by his attacks on the Catholic Church than for his dirty words in his routine. His style of socially and politically oriented comedy profoundly influenced comedians for decades, and many of today's stand-up comedians would not be able to perform if Bruce had not broken the barriers years ago. He died of a heroin overdose in 1966. His conviction on this day was posthumously overturned, and he was given a pardon by Governor George Pataki on December 23rd, 2003, after he's already dead. Whoop-de-friggin-do. And then, which we don't follow and we laugh at and we veto at the UN, America that is. On this day in 1988, U.S. finally ratifies UN Genocide Convention. That's about as funny as the NSA, no such agency. The United Nations had adopted the Genocide Convention, officially the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, on December 9th, 1948. The United States finally ratified the convention on this day 40 years later after the UN adopted it in an unprecedented campaign in the history of the Senate. Senator William Proxmire, Democrat out of Wisconsin, delivered over 3,000 speeches urging ratification, speaking every day the Senate was in session between 1967 and 1986. That's quite a commitment there by old Senator Proxmire. And so laughably on this day, sadly as well that it is laughable, 1988, U.S. finally ratifies UN Genocide Convention. And then what else did we have? Oh, a few more to show you how fake democracy is, especially in California. On this day of November 4th, 2008, Proposition 8, California banned same-sex marriage. A popular referendum, California voters amended the state's constitution to ban same-sex marriage. Turns out the court don't care about elections. On June 26, 2015, in Oberfell versus Hudson, the Supreme Court declared same-sex marriage was constitutional in the entire United States under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The Supreme Court. Yeah, well, there you go. So your democracy here matters, and what you vote for matters, and the court can never overturn it. Oh, well, they actually did. And then, yeah, Barack Hussein Obama, the first half white president, was elected on this day, thankfully. Okay, 2008. And then here's our segue. Let's see, what's a good segue? Well, let's play Dick Cheney. Burn in Hell, Dick Cheney. Here's our segue. And then we'll bring on Thomas and get to all this news for you today. Again, Dick Cheney dead at 84. How many children and kittens did he eat throughout his life? We just don't know.
Is that he now is trying through his illicit procurement network to acquire the equipment he needs to be able to enrich uranium.
Aluminum tubes.
Specifically aluminum tubes. There's a story in the New York Times this morning. This is, and I want to attribute to the Times, and I want to talk about, obviously, specific intelligence sources, but it's now public that, in fact, he has been seeking to acquire, and we have been able to intercept and prevent him from acquiring through this particular channel, the kinds of tubes that are necessary to build a centrifuge. And the centrifuge is required to take low-grade uranium and enhance it into highly enriched uranium, which is what you have to have in order to build a bomb.
Yeah, all lies. Who cares? He's a great American patriot. Got us into a legal foreign war of aggression over there in Iraq. Who cares? It's a great American patriot, right? That's what they're lying about today, trying to tell us. So how many deaths was Dick Cheney responsible for? Well, his policies, direct war and violence deaths, at least 800 to 929,000 people, including civilians, military personnel, and contractors, dead due to Dick Cheney's policies post 9/11 in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria, Yemen. So, yeah, total deaths, including indirect causes attributed directly to Dick Cheney's policies. Indirect deaths, disease, malnutrition, infrastructure collapse in the aforementioned countries. 4.5 to 4.7 million deaths attributed to Dick Cheney's policies there. So over 38 million with an M, people displaced due to Dick Cheney's policies. So I don't want to hear how Dick Cheney is some great American patriot. And with that, let's bring on Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy to cover the rest of the news. How you doing, Thomas, on this Tuesday, day number 35 of the government shutdown?
Doing all right. It's going well. Good to be on Weaponized News today, helping out on the ultimate bubble in the stock market history. It's looking like it's about to pop now that the commenters here in the chats talking about the hardship that everyday Americans are feeling all across the country, and saying, why aren't Americans getting anything out of this great tech boom and all of the AI and all of this supposed GDP growth, which the number has been shrinking at an incredibly fast pace, from 5% GDP growth down to now 1.6%, according to Treasury Secretary Besant now. And people are saying, well, if the dollar is stronger, and the dollar is stronger, then why aren't Americans? And now you have this massive announcements of these huge layoffs and this massive trucking shutdown. The trucking industry is about to lose 600,000 jobs, which is about 17% of the trucking workforce, because there's just no demand by the consumer. Demand is absolutely collapsing by the consumer, and you have the massive runs on consumer stocks and consumer staple stocks, and the fast food and the restaurants and the dining, the eating out. McDonald's, Chipotle stock is getting absolutely obliterated. Their sales are totally evaporating. You have sales uh, completely collapsing, and he's lying with his statistics, just like the press secretary under Trump, lying Levitt, keeps lying that inflation is normal and inflation is under control, and here you have
Thomas, I've been telling you this for 6 years. I've been telling you this for 6 years. When you're being mean to the doomers, I've been trying to explain this to you. Okay, we'll get to that. We have a technocracy economic section, but back to Dick Cheney. Remember the time that Dick Cheney shot this dude in the face and then made him apologize for it, right? Dick Cheney, quote, accidentally shot Harry Winnington in the face with a 28 gauge shotgun, shot him in the face and upper torso while they were out, quote, quail hunting in Texas. And then Winnington suffered a non-fatal heart attack after getting shot by Dick Cheney. And then Dick Cheney made him go on television and apologize for him being shot. Here's the video of that. It's just, it doesn't get much more ridiculous than this, but man shot by Vice President Cheney speaks. It wasn't Dick Cheney really the president there under Bush. Come on, man.
Especially to those who are not familiar with the great sport of quail hunting. We all assume certain risks in whatever we do, whatever activities we pursue, and regardless of how experienced, careful, and dedicated we are. Accidents do and will happen, and that's what happened last Friday. I am very grateful and want to thank all the people who have remembered me in their prayers and the kindness that you have extended to my family who's been here this week. My family and I are deeply sorry for all that Vice President Cheney and his family have had to go through this past week. We send our love and respect to them as they deal with situations that are much more serious than what we've had this week.
He got shot in the face and upper torso and had a heart attack. And that's the press conference he did. Damn, man. Talk about embarrassing.
When you're in the three-letter agencies and assassinations is part of what you do, and you've killed millions and millions of people around the world and displaced tens of millions of them, probably there's more to the story of Dick Cheney shooting somebody in the face out there in the field, right? Hey, let's make this look like boom, shoot the guy in the face, right? I mean, probably one of those, and the guy just got lucky and survived it somehow.
Yeah, burn in hell, Dick Cheney. Okay, terminate the filibuster, Trump says here. Terminate the filibuster. Screaming it, see? All caps, screaming it. Terminate the filibuster as we're on day 35 here. And they do need 60 votes in the Senate to pass this continuing resolution. Let's hear bobblehead Levitt, however you say your stupid name, at the White House today. Day 35, government shutdown.
On day 35 of the Democrat government shutdown, the Democrats' obstructionism will break the record for the longest government shutdown in American history tonight. The Democrats are intentionally hurting American families, workers, and businesses with this shutdown to fight for free health care for illegal aliens and to appease their radical left-wing base. And it's a total disgrace.
There in the comments is Donald Trump really Stephen Miller wearing a Donald Trump mask? I don't know. Could be. It could be. Democrats stop the chaos, open the government.
It's pretty common for the Democrats. They want to get the voters out, make them uncomfortable, get the black vote out. So let's take away their food stamps blame it on Trump, blame it on the Republicans, go on a big media thing lying that they took away the money. And the only way to get the food stamps back is to vote Democrat. I mean, they've been doing this all of our lives. We've seen this every single selection. They go and give free phones, they go and give free food, they go and give free this, they go and lie endlessly about free handouts, etc. Now, now the Republicans did it. They lied that we're all going to get a $5,000 Doge dividend, and where's that? We don't even get 5 cents. So that's what they do. It's the same crap, just a different day. They'll run it again next time.
White House says,
but they could use some fasting, especially these Democrats. They could, the average weight of this food stamp recipient is something like 213 pounds. The average female recipient in America of food stamps is 213 pounds. So they certainly could use some fasting.
you're body shaming, and that won't be allowed on the show. He's threatening to break the law to starve Americans who rely on SNAP. Great California Senator Padilla, who was roughed up by ICE earlier in the year here, he said, in Trump's America, billionaires get gilded ballrooms and bailouts, and Americans who can't afford groceries pay the price. It's not wrong. He's not wrong, but the problem is he's just as big a piece of shit as Trump. You see, Alex Padilla, senator, unelected, by the way. He's appointed. Nobody even voted for this fool.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, Trump could go around this. If the government is shut down, I imagine Trump could go around it in some way.
Here's what Trump had to say about it, about the SNAP benefits. He said, SNAP benefits, which increased by billions and billions of dollars, many-fold during crooked Joe Biden's disastrous term in office, due to the fact that they were haphazardly handed to anyone for the asking, as opposed to just those in need, which is the purpose of SNAP, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up government, which they can do easily.
That's holding it hostage over the people. I don't really see that to be necessary. You can reform the program. You could. There's got to be some way to do that without giving the Democrats everything. And this is it. They always play us, the left versus right fraudadime that they do. Right? You got to do everything in this huge omnibus bill that's all collectively together. You can't line item anything. And yet, right, there's a million different ways to put different things through. And Trump has gone around endlessly.
They're trying to pass a budget, and it's like a 1 point whatever trillion dollar deficit, and it's like
he could announce a state of emergency right now. We have a state of emergency. There's tens of millions of Americans that are, about to go hungry, and we're going to we're going to get those SNAP benefits out, but it's going to be under a reform package. There's got to be qualification of some kind there, and there's a lot of crime, and we're going to send some new investigative unit to deal with these people. They SNAP benefits, and then they sell them off. They sell the food off to somebody else. Right? They're rigging this. That's not right either. So I'm all for the poor getting as much help as possible, but not for allowing them ways to fraud. That should not be it.
That's what America's built on, is fraud. Chuck Schumer says Donald Trump is being taken back to court over his refusal to fully fund SNAP. He is creating a hunger crisis in America, all so that he can avoid reopening the government and fixing health care for millions of Americans. It's horrific. See, Chuck Schumer cares about the poor here in America, Thomas.
Yeah, right. More manipulation. Manipulation from both sides. And they both, holding this hostage politically over the other people's heads, instead of actually serving the public that is reliant on them and has been made to rely on them by these previous fraudustrations, right? Administrations, fraudustrations.
Here you go. Here's what you're talking about, the emergency from the bobblehead blonde at the press secretary office there. We're digging into contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies. Let's listen to this clip. So see, maybe they're going next.
Miss 1.9.
We're already operating under like 50 different emergencies too, by the way.
Yeah.
The administration is fully complying with the court order. I just spoke to the president about it. The recipients of these SNAP benefits need to understand it's going to take some time to receive this money because the Democrats have forced the administration into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war. And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future. And that's
You want to eat or you want to pay for bombs, damn it.
Right, it's implied, right? Hey, Ukraine gets more money than that. Israel gets more money than that.
Aardvark land should get all our money, damn it. Tired of this shit.
But you 213-pound obese Americans, you got to starve, right? You can't get any of that money because we got to beat Putin. Hey, you want to give those starving Americans money? You're anti-Putin. That's what it means. You want to pay the SNAP benefits?
Denver wants to give Argentina more bailouts too. Yeah, we got to bail out Argentina, that Zionist, Millet. We got to bail out whoever's a Zionist. We got to give them everything we got, because Jesus was a Zionist, right? All right.
Yes. So they're trying to force all of these African obese Americans that you see on all the social media videos complaining about the SNAP, the Democrat voters.
I don't know. I think we were talking about
forcing them to convert to a Judaism, I guess, right?
There you go. Not even Judaism, Zionism.
Right, exactly.
We're just cutting right to it, and you have to do Talmudic satanic rituals in the freaking food line. Okay, look at this. Okay, they want to
kiss the wall, man. They didn't kiss the wall. See, that's what happens when you don't kiss the wall.
Oh, look how fake this is. Patriot Awards on Fox News. Look at this. It's truly unreal. We have a corporate government. It's not Fox News Patriot Awards 2025, the War Channel. Patriot of the Year, First Lady Melania Trump, awarded by the War Channel, Fox News Patriot Awards.
Yeah, definitely not any Americans from the street. We couldn't have possibly considered any of them. It's got to be
fake. All fake.
Once again, one of your TV show actors, the famous people, right? Already in the government. Let's give them another award. Let's just rig up another one for them. It's like these awards organizations. One of them solicited me, asked, even though I wasn't a venture capital fund at the time, was not building one, they asked me if I wanted to buy an award to be just like Air Asia has won 8 years in a row, #1 airline in Southeast Asia. The same organization that sells them that award asked me if I wanted to buy the #1 private equity fund award in Southeast Asia for $35,000, which is the price, I guess, that Air Asia paid. Did Melania buy her award? I don't know. Maybe that's probably, I know all these awards, they're all organized by some organizing event and they sell those. They're not free. Nobody does awards for free, right? And they all tell
government does love giving each other awards too, as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you should have paid. I bet it was a hefty return on investment there. Okay, since we're honoring genocidal, homicidal maniacs today with the passing of Dick Cheney, here's another one. Henry Kissinger, flashback. He says terrorists are those who reject the international system, and they're literally pissing on the international system at the UN, vetoing every vote that comes up to end the genocide in Gaza. Here's Henry Kissinger, famous Zionist.
What we in America call terrorists are really groups of people that reject the international system. What we in America call terrorists are really groups of people that reject the international system.
Don't be a terrorist.
Terrorists rejecting our international system, our slavery, Jewish mafia, RICO cartel, where we can monopolize absolutely everything, enslave these other countries, and sanction them and cripple them and crush them if they don't let us and take them over, right? So those are terrorists if they don't let us do that to them and destroy their countries and destroy their people.
And Thomas, there's a segue to Al-Qaeda. ISIS is coming to the White House on Monday. Former Al-Qaeda ISIS leader in Syria, al-Shara, now president of Syria, is coming to the White House. And so those same terrorists are now coming to the White House. Here's press secretary announcing it. So we'll have Al-Qaeda at the White House on Monday.
Thank you. Over the weekend, there were reports.
I was going to you in the green, but go ahead and then you can have your.
Thank you. Over the weekend, there were reports that President Trump was due to host President of Syria, Ahmed al-Shara, on Monday. Do you have any preview for that meeting? Is he expected to invite him to join the U.S.-led anti-ISIS coalition?
I can confirm that that meeting will be taking place here at the White House on Monday, and this is part of the president's efforts in diplomacy to meet with anyone around the world in the pursuit of peace. And as you know, when the president was in the Middle East, he made the historic decision to lift sanctions on Syria to give them a real chance at peace. And I think the administration, we've seen good progress on.
So we lifted the sanctions on Al-Qaeda in Syria, and now they're coming to the White House.
Well, anyone can become a Jew, right? Anyone can join the Jew international order, and if they do, like Henry Kissinger said, they're not a terrorist. Now.
Don't say that, dude. You're going to get us censored, man. Call them aardvarks. You got to use the code words. Okay. They're cranking up the censorship. I've been reporting on it for the last 2-3 weeks. They really are cranking up the censorship.
I got a strike on YouTube for
there you go.
A music video to my channel to private. It was set to private where nobody could see it, nobody could detect it, nobody could search it, in a private playlist as well. And they flagged it for, they said it had hate speech in the video because it was talking about this topic.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's interesting. Instead of using the algorithms to help the people, right, to using the fake intelligence to help the users, that put stuff up there and they say, oh, you know, we're helping you. That's got some, you know, here's where it breaks our terms and conditions, whatnot. We found that for you, so your account's safe and protected. So then we got you covered, so you don't have to worry about having that kind of stuff on your channel. Instead of having that attitude, they have a punitive and going after you and attacking you and destroying you attitude and method instead. I mean, it just shows how completely evil and corrupt that these people are.
I think I think that they've established that, especially during the medical intervention, and it carries forth today. A UPS plane has crashed near Louisville Airport earlier today. No real indication if this had to do with the air traffic controllers not being paid, the implementation of new air traffic control systems, but that did indeed happen. I've been warning. Although this was not commercial air travel, I would not be surprised if the next plane that crashes is a commercial plane with many passengers. Looks like
might possibly be. I'll just throw it out there. UPS just announced something like 16,000 layoffs, including pilots. Might be somebody pissed off at the company and downing a plane or doing a suicide. God only knows. Maybe they went long on, maybe they had a whole bunch of UPS stock and UPS stock is crashing. We'll have a look. But that, boy, there's a lot of layoffs going on. We'll have a check at UPS stock and see. It's
all fine. The economy's booming, Thomas. The economy's booming. Here is some footage. There's a lot of different footages. This was one of the first that came out of said UPS plane crash there near Louisville Airport. There you go. I blame the Democrat shutdown, Thomas, for that.
Yeah, and this stock is down significantly over the last couple of years, but some decent results. They're paying a 7% dividend right now. The stock is actually quite, I would say, undervalued relative to many other stocks. And they just reported earnings of 21.42 billion, beating expectations of 20.89 billion, with earnings per share $1.74 above the $1.31 forecast. So they just had a massive earnings growth and profit beat. It's looking like a pretty good buy on the chart relative to what's going on, and certainly a defensive stock in the consumer staples and transport industry. And if they're cutting costs currently and cutting costs ahead of a recession, there will probably be some good rotation into a stock like UPS from these other wild insanities of like a Tesla Motors, 250 times earnings. It'll take them 250 years to earn enough money to pay back one share with how little money that they're making in profit. It's amazing how any company the stock can be so manipulated. But with the dark pools and the dark pools largely, to at least some major degree, run by Lutnick and Lutnick's massive spider web of international shell companies. And Lutnick just called for Tesla Motors stock to go up to $510 per share. And Tesla had a brutal day yesterday and was down maybe about $25 a share yesterday. $24.11 was the close. It was down from 470. It was up at $475 almost, not quite, over $474, and now it's down $30 from that peak to $444. And I am still currently short Tesla Motors, seemingly the most overvalued stock in the entire American stock market.
Well, you hate the environment. That's what it is. Now I figured it out.
The face of energy suppression is Tesla Motors, literally.
And poetically, you're short, so that is good. Okay, so we reported yesterday, but more details now on your corporate government. It's not a democracy. It doesn't represent you. It's a technocracy, corporate government, scientific dictatorship. Donors to Trump's White House ballroom have, guess what? They have $279 billion in federal contracts. Talk about a return on their investment. The list contains heavyweights in tech, finance, and defense, you don't say, including Google, Comcast, Lockheed Martin. And so you give Trump some money for his vanity project, the new East Wing Ballroom, and you get a large return on your investment with large federal government contracts. Others include Alteria Group, Amazon, Apple, to name a few. Any other big names here? Lockheed Martin, of course, big military industrial complex. And there's a bunch of others, and they don't even hide it. It's right there, America 250. You can go look it up. And that is your technocratic corporate government that's actually calling the shots, not these puppet politicians that put on the political theater of, quote, democracy for us here every day.
You can't possibly, make another emergency fund. Oh, you got to miss 1.9% inflation. You got to dig into that emergency fund. We can't go into that. That's for special emergencies. They can't just go to call up the Fed. Hey, we need some more printing of that stimulus money. Of course, we're going to see countless bailouts as companies start flaming out and banks start going under. We're going to see bailouts. We're going to see more liquidity. We're going to see more reserves printing because we have a credit crunch. As the Fed was buying back all of these securities, reining in the liquidity, sucking it out of the market. Now you have a liquidity crunch again. Powell's been slow rolling the interest rates, just putting pain to the consumer. And everybody's been frauded to think that high interest rates somehow solve price inflation. High interest rates do not solve price inflation, and this is the Talmudic subterfuge.
Maybe another lockdown could help the economy, Thomas.
Yeah, hey, I mean, Bill Gates wants to run with that right now. He's just pledged to spend all the rest of his money, at least $200 million, or sorry, 200 billion of his stolen wealth, locking down Africa and injecting them all. I mean, what could be more humanitarian?
So is it really life and death? And how do we take any of these clowns seriously? Here's Trump again. If this is the truth, then well, we already are. We're in a failed country, a fake democracy. This is what Trump said about it's life or death for the country. Let me read this post. So if this is true, then it's already failed, and we might as well, give it up. Tomorrow's United States Supreme Court case is literally life or death for our country. With a victory, we have tremendous but fair financial national security. Without it, we are virtually defenseless against other countries who have for years taken advantage of us. Our stock market is consistently hitting record highs, and our country has never been more respected than it is right now. Oh, the rest of the world, like 85% loves genocide, you see, and they love being genocided. I guess they told Trump that. Please terminate us. Continuing here, a big part of this is the economic security created by tariffs and the deals that we have negotiated because of them. Thank you very much for your attention to this matter. So if this is true, then we're in a failed state. If this is true that so life or death of the country depends on a Supreme Court decision about tariffs tomorrow, Thomas. If that's true, then why? I mean, we might as well just pack it all up. Why have elections? Why have anything?
I don't imagine that the Supreme Court would go against it. America's had these exact same kinds of tariffs before. So for them to go against it now, it just wouldn't make any sense, really.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow if the country's dead, according to what these clowns in the robes, some more occultists. Okay, on to, I know this is your favorite CEO in the world, Alex Karp of Palantir. Here's him again talking about if fentanyl was killing 60,000 Yale grads instead of 60,000 working class people, we'd be dropping nuclear bombs on whoever was sending it from South America. May very well be Palantir directed. Let's hear from this psycho, Alex Karp. And he is a psycho.
By the way, let me say something slightly political. And I'm not saying other people agree with this. But when people are attacking our soldiers for stopping fentanyl from coming to this country, I want people to remember, if fentanyl was killing 60,000 Yale grads instead of 60,000 working class people, we'd be dropping a nuclear bomb on whoever was sending it from South America. So it's slightly like we in this at Palantir, we are on the side of the average American who sometimes gets screwed because all the empathy goes to elite people and none of it goes.
There you go. Palantir's on our side, on the little guy's side, Thomas. And so don't be going after.
That's why they're spying on you 24 hours a day in every possible way that they can.
Don't be going after the government, the soldiers, for extrajudicially assassinating alleged narco traffickers in the Caribbean that have been given no due process. They haven't even been charged with a crime, for God's sake. They just been whacked, we're told, by the government. And so we're just supposed to say that's okay because Alex Karp at Palantir cares about the little people.
That's why he videotapes you in the toilet, like Larry Ellison said.
Okay, listen.
He's there in those most intimate moments.
Hey, he's looking out for our rectums. We wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, you'll enjoy this report, Thomas, from the U.S. Department of Energy. DOE announces $625 million to advance national quantum information science research centers. A mouthful for technocracy, and it does sound quite terrifying. The U.S. Department of Energy today announced $625 million in funding to renew its 5 national quantum information sciences research centers originally established under the National Quantum Initiative Act, signed into law by Trump in December of 2018, the renewal of the Department of Energy's National Quantum Information Science Research Centers advances Trump's directive to restore American leadership in quantum science and technology. The Department of Energy is aligning its quantum research enterprise with national priorities, focusing and researching on advancing critical research and development across America, QIS, strengthening the quantum innovative ecosystem, accelerating discoveries that power next generation technologies, and securing America's leadership in quantum computing hardware and applications. And it goes on from there to lay out the technocracy that they're building right in front of our face, and saying how wonderful it is because they care about the little people.
Well, Palantir needs to spy on you more, and this is their number one tool of spying and technological future spying is signal intelligence is using quote unquote quantum technologies to spy on signal communications. That's one of the main things that they want this for, and why it's getting so much attention when there's so little result out of that actual computing power and any kind of benefit. And yet another space program fraud, like a great hot fusion.
We're gonna beat China to the moon here now, Thomas. All right, we're beating the damn Chinese to the moon.
Well, China's announced that by 2035 they're going to do a moon mission. They're dedicated to it.
Well, we're going to beat them there. All right.
I can't wait to see those cartoon videos. I mean, the Chinese space mission videos are some of the most hilarious shit you've ever seen.
Okay, more on this Department of Energy National Quantum Information Science Research Centers. What a friggin' mouthful all of that is to say. More reporting on it here. Supports fundamental science with disruptive potential across quantum computing, simulation, networking, and sensing. It develops unique tools, equipment, and instrumentation that unlock transformative new QIS capabilities, advances quantum technology through application to Department of Energy most pressing scientific and national security challenge areas, establishes community resources, workforce opportunities, and industrial partnership to strengthen the entire QIS ecosystem. Wow.
Yeah, and endless, tens of billions, probably hundreds of billions will go into it. Most of it will be pretty much zero results, just massive fraud, waste, and abuse once again. And instead of the priorities, and hey, tons of money for that, but no money for food for the little people. Why doesn't, hey, I've got a new idea. Why doesn't Trump make a new shit coin, like a snap coin, snap token or something like this? And maybe the people, run it up, just talk it up. And maybe, it'll be a pump and dump, and some of those, it'll only be eligible for the people that would have got SNAP benefits, and then they can get some pump and dump money. They would have to dig into another emergency fund for that, so they won't do that. You got to make sure that we got enough money to buy more gold for that ballroom, right?
Let me give the last details of this report from the Department of Energy. They say the center's renewals include co-designed Center for Quantum Advantage. Brookhaven National Laboratory will advance quantum computing and sensing by improving materials used in superconducting and plasma-grown diamond-based quantum devices, and developing modular approaches for superconducting and neutral atom systems, superconducting quantum materials and system centers. Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory will scale quantum devices based on superconducting microwave capacities, developing new methods of refrigeration and technologies for connecting mini quantum processors to lay the groundwork for quantum data centers. Next, Aragon National Laboratory will advance algorithms and chip components to scale quantum operations on the same chip and across different labs and cities, preserving entanglement and prototyping next generation quantum sensors. Quantum System Accelerator, Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, will enable large-scale quantum computers through improved error correction using neutral atom ion and superconducting circuits to tackle Department of Energy grand challenges in fundamental physics, chemistry, and emergent quantum phenomena. And then finally, Oak Ridge National Laboratory will pioneer quantum accelerated high performance computing, developing open source software for quantum classical workflows that accelerate scientific advancements across multiple disciplines. Quite a bit there is going on. See, they're saving us, Thomas. And then here are all of your agencies involved in this, all of the good people. You have your DARPA, U.S. Army, NIST, of course. Why the hell is National Health in there? It don't matter. Take your miracle. Why is USDA in there? It don't matter. Eat your GMO. And so here's all the heroes of America. And then, of course, NASA is going to beat China to the moon again. So
Well, we do need microchip. No doubt about that.
Quantum.gov. I do like how the #1 company in the world, over $5 trillion market cap, NVIDIA's logo is the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati. That gives me a lot of faith in their chips.
Yeah, and they're, of course, in this incestuous relationship of this criminally fraudulent ring around the rosy of money. NVIDIA invests to OpenAI. OpenAI buys $300 billion in NVIDIA chips with these fake investment credits, just made up out of Jensen Huang's voice. That we're going to invest $300 billion. They don't have $300 billion in cash, so we're going to invest. But we're going to invest. So just say the words, $300 billion to OpenAI stock, and OpenAI scam fraudman comes out and says, we're going to buy $300 billion in chips from NVIDIA, and then we're going to buy another $200 billion from AMD. And OpenAI doesn't have any of that money. They don't have any of that cash to do that with. And then it's okay. We're going to invest, $200 billion into OpenAI. Of that money that's coming in, we're going to invest it right back. It's just a ring around the rosy shit show of lies. And then they announce this to investors. So then the stock gets pumped up. So the market caps go up. And then they take that down to the banks, and they borrow against that additional market cap, get money from the banks, and then they just go on a big party. And right.
Well, at least they'll be spying on everyone. More on the technocracy. BlackRock's Larry.
They'll know what snap foods that you buy, though you'll be buying a lot less. I guess their job was too hard. There weren't enough microchips, so they need more money for that, so that then they can spy on you. And since they can't spy on you, they need to cut your benefits because it's too hard for them to spy on you. That's the biggest priority, not you actually eating, right?
BlackRock's Larry Fink.
You're useless eaters anyway, they all said, right?
BlackRock's Larry Fink says, we're at the beginning of the tokenization of all assets, promotes necessity of digital ID to form a social credit score, just like they got in China, but at least we'll beat them to the moon as we're in prison here, digitally enslaved to technocracy. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, of course, asserts that society is at the inception of tokenizing all assets, envisioning a multi-decade transformation where traditional holdings such as real estate, equities, and bonds shift to digital ecosystems on blockchain technology. And we could have those, digitally animated apes and pump that bubble up and then rug that and burn everybody. That was a fun experience for those that can remember that. Tokenization entails converting physical and financial assets into digital tokens on a blockchain, facilitating instantaneous settlements, fractional ownership, and broader access to high yield investments, thereby reducing the need for intermediaries and democratizing financial participation as outlined in Fink's 2024 annual chairman's letter. See, they care about the little people. They want to democratize financialization as a rig, that up one side and down the other. Fink emphasizes the assessment of unique identifiers akin to CUSIPs to every asset on a general ledger, coupled with individual investor identifications to eradicate illicit activities and enable seamless, immediate transactions without traditional verification delays to increase the speed of their fraud there. A robust digital identity system is deemed essential for effective tokenization, necessitating advanced verification methods beyond conventional channels. Fink highlights India's model, where over 90% of its citizens can authenticate transactions via smartphones as a benchmark for global adoption. As Interim co-chair of the World Economic Forum, alongside Andre Hoffman, we've covered that, following Klaus Schwab's exit, Fink positions the organization as a vital platform for fostering global cooperation in an era of geopolitical fragmentation, advocating for open markets and equitable prosperity distribution. BlackRock's influence is underscored by its management of approximately $13.5 trillion in assets and control over $4.35 trillion in corporate values, establishing Fink as a pivotal figure in steering the evolution of financial systems toward tokenization. Fink maintains significant political connections, including overseeing Donald Trump's pre-presidential finances and managing aspects of U.S. stimulus programs. Trump has publicly commended Fink for delivering substantial returns and leveraging government opportunities. The International Monetary Fund posts that digital footprints generated from cashless transactions can function as innovative credit scores, enabling small merchants to secure expedited loans at reduced rates. Based on research by Professor Yao Zheng, former UK Minister Tony Blair describes digital identity as a, quote, great enabler, proposing a system for securely managing personal data in digital wallets accessible for both governmental and commercial purposes without universal reliance on smartphones. The Bank of International Settlement supports tokenization and integration of social credit mechanisms within digital tokens to ensure compliance, collaborating with institutions like the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and International Monetary Fund to establish a comprehensively tracked economy that modulates assets and behaviors. There you go. That's your
forces behavior. So no human rights, no opportunity for freedom of choice in anything that you do. Right, this dystopian, totalitarian, fascist, slavery system. And here they lie decentralization when it's 100% centralized. They lie democratized when it's 100% anti-democratic. And they admit, right, it's just gaslighting after gaslighting, fraud and manipulation after fraud and manipulation. Totally, completely two-faced. And they're saying one thing, then the opposite, one thing, then the opposite, one thing, then the opposite. It's just so subversive. And that's Talmudic subterfuge for you. And they say, hey, they lie that it's going to make it easier. This is trackable. It shows that you have this record, which helps to build credit. Now, you have that already. It's called your bank statement. You already have that. your bank statement, your pay stubs, etc. So there's nothing new here for anybody. There's nothing new here. The only new thing is a total elimination of privacy, and then they could just turn off your money whenever the F they feel like it, an elimination of cash, so you cannot actually have an emergency fund outside of their system. And then they can do these kind of things like eliminate all of your SNAP benefits, and then it's just gone. And there's nothing you could do about it because you have no emergency fund, you have no fallbacks, you have no alternatives outside of them and their total control and their totalitarianism. There is no resistance, and that's exactly why they're doing it. And of the thousands of alternatives that tokenization, the thousands of different pathways of freedom that humanity has, no. You see, tokenization is only can be done through this one method, through this one centralization, and it has to be done. And then they fraud up a panel, as they did under Ursula von der Leyen at the EU, this fascist criminal Talmudic state, as she said, right there. We have the values of the Talmud. I mean, what the hell? No, Europe doesn't. And multiple people in the European Union Parliament criticized her, but again, it's completely rigged. It's an unelected bureaucracy in there, and then they lie to everybody's face, gaslighting them all on television that that these people are all elected. I mean, it's just so outrageous, and everybody calling for her resignation and for her to be jailed, and she's still there year after year, year after year. I mean, this is an appointed emperor inside there. There's no, and you look at Christine Lagarde, a convicted felon for financial crimes at the highest level, hundreds of millions of dollars in financial crimes. And like a decade after decade, she's there. I mean, immovable people at these.
It's called democracy, and you're being antiseptic. So let's take our commercial break here now. Live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers. There's a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, and the clear background sticker there at weaponizednews.com. And let's take a look at the shop. We've been adding quite a few items to it. I did not have time today to add a new shirt design, but here are some of the designs. We have the, of course, Alexander Solzhenitsyn. We Know They're Lying shirt, one of my favorites. I think it was the first one I made. Break the Mind Control shirt, and then Taxation's Theft, two different designs there. And then You Don't Hate the Government Enough hoodie. We have a bunch of different designs with Weaponized News logo, shirts, hats, long sleeve hoodies at the Weaponized News store here for your patronage. Please support independent reporting and analysis brought to you here at Weaponized News. Camouflage Weaponized News hat, yellow beanie. We have the safety shirts as well. The orange, bright orange. We have it in safety, I believe, orange, safety green, and pink. Maybe not this one. Yeah, pink. So the bright colors out there on the job site representing Weaponized News. We appreciate everyone who's posted their photos of the Weaponized News sticker on their hard hat, on their work locker, on their guitar. You can put it all those places. Think of somewhere original. Put a Weaponized News sticker on it and send us an image. We'll promote it. We appreciate all of the support out there, all the subscribers. Go to weaponizednews.com, patronize our store, give us a donation if you like. Below, Cash App link, Buy Me a Coffee link, and our Bitcoin wallet address are in the description below this video. What do you got to plug today for us, Thomas?
I would just say I'm Thomas of Alpha Omega Energy, the world's #1 breakthrough clean energy technology startup. And we're currently into angel investment, early stages, seeking investors. And I've been building the world's only ever, from what I can see and what I'm aware of so far, the only Christian venture capital investment fund. So it's a venture capital fund is an early stage investment company that invests to Christian founders, putting the Christian founders first, making them a priority, because I believe that the #1 risk in startup investing is the values of the founder, which Silicon Valley doesn't want to talk about that, though they admit that it is such. Their slogan is our investment criterion does not include good people. That's not one of their investment criteria. Now, I've heard that many times. And that's why there's $300 to $500 million plus mega frauds coming out of Silicon Valley every day, and $1 billion mega fraud coming out of Silicon Valley every 2 to 3 days. And we're seeing more and more of these continuously. I subscribe to some newsletters from there where people report on those regularly, doing post-mortems on what caused those failures. So we're made a venture capital fund, and now we have 8 junior VC interns that I'm teaching and training here locally in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Christian folks that go regularly attend churches, and I'm looking for more. I began opening this up to the entire world, do an online remote VC, and then after talking to a couple very interested pastors and some others, and now there's 5 pastors that have joined as junior VC interns, and they have a similar idea to me. So we're kind of going after some more Christians to have the right spiritual pedigree, I call this, on our team of junior VCs. But we're thinking about possibly opening this up into a class in a university, doing a class with like 20 students, and achieving our goal to have a total of 30 junior VC interns. Probably we'll pull 5 or so Christian financial advisors and financial planners in America, the last 5. So if anybody's interested in possibly funding a breakthrough energy tech startup, which is going to do very well in the future, can reach out to me and my contacts. And if you're interested in earning a great return, everybody, all of us need to invest for our future. You can talk to us about the AOE BAM fund. It's a business as mission fund, which is a Christian concept. And there's a lot of great things that we can do over here in Cambodia. It's very secure, without this high-risk craziness, building real economy businesses, and finding values that aren't going to be interested at all in running away with money, like happens so often in the shitcoin and the Silicon Valley industries. Thank you.
Well, you should be a Zionist and you'd already be a kabillionaire.
I'd get $100 billion of that fake NVIDIA coupon money. Fun coupons.
Okay, on to the election news breaking. But before we have what happened today in your fake selection? Here's Trump. The unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam in that the entire process, in particular, the voting itself, is rigged. All mail-in ballots where the Republicans in the state are shut out is under serious legal and criminal review. Stay tuned. We don't want to hear. Well, she says, yeah, it's absolutely true. There's fraud in California. Yeah, the entire quote, democracy is a fraud. And then, of course, any aardvark person who votes for Zoran over there running for New York mayor, a proven self-professed aardvark hater, is a stupid person. And then every day gets better for us, the classic Chuck Schumer meme there, keeping everybody believing in this technocracy. And then here it is. Donald Trump endorses Andrew Cuomo, who's now running as an independent there. He did terminate Granny during the medical intervention period, and he's admitted as such here. Let's hear from Cuomo trying anything to get votes in the last minute.
Globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance, and people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch, and I understand how terrible it was.
Well, I mean, that's worth of my vote, right? I mean, and he got Trump's endorsement for that, and so very good of him there. But here's the breaking news: it appears that Democrats have done a full sweep here. Democrat women take New Jersey, Virginia. MAGA rebuked. That's the top of Drudge headline here, and old commie Muslim dude out of he's won the New York mayor. So there you go. A rebuke of MAGA there in the East. Thomas, I don't know what. And in California, that's going to be funny if they announce the results tonight for California when it takes them a month for every other election to count the ballots. But don't you worry, tonight, Prop 50 here in California, they'll announce the results before the polls are even closed because it is indeed all rigged. And then they'll scream democracy in your face as they're literally stealing from you.
Well, when do the Republicans ever win with the aardvarks in there, in New Jersey with the aardvarks in there? So that's nothing new. And Virginia, the intelligence state, sometimes there's some Republicans in there, but usually it's Democrats in there anyway. So nothing really new about that. We got this sheriff here. I've shared to you. A sheriff blowing the whistle on Gavin Newsom. Might want to play that video for the audience here.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah, so that's your. I guess we don't have Prop 50 results yet. It's like 6:20 here. And I'm surprised they didn't announce it yesterday. You know what I mean? It's already predetermined who wins here now, or votes will be discovered as we go. And so it's literally laughable.
All night long, and if needed, trucks of ballots will show up at between 3 and 4 after
Indeed.
Stop, right?
Indeed. And so you should revoke the system. Tell everybody no, it's a fraud. There's no democracy. It's all rigged. And the bullshit line of if you vote, you can't complain is another gaslighting psyop. If you vote, that's giving credence to this corrupt system and saying that you're okay with the lesser of two evils when the entire system is evil. You should rebuke it and say, no, we're not even participating in your corrupt system. You're all criminals and need to all go to FEMA camps.
And then you can find out that you voted anyway, even though that you didn't later on, right? Like so many others.
I'm sure I voted Democrat, even though I didn't even vote. I'm sure I voted for Prop 50, even though I didn't even vote. You know what I mean? It's just beyond.
And you can't check to see if you did or not, and you can't check to see if who you voted for. You actually they actually registered in that system as who you voted for. You're not even allowed to check. There is no way.
I'm sure
to check.
Dick Cheney voted Democrat. You know what I mean?
Right. Who makes a system like that right after they talk about implementing this digital social credit score for verification of everything and tracking and accountability and everything else? Of course, zero accountability. Totally gaslighting.
They rig everything, corrupt everything, and then so we have to. It's the problem reaction solution, right? Now we're begging, please give us digital ID so we don't have rigged elections anymore. And it's like, no, they rigged the election so you would be calling for digital ID. Total enslavement, mark of the beast system. Come on, people.
And what they're saying, the features of the digital ID system are. That's not going to apply to the elections in the future. That's not going to be on that.
Okay, more rigging. So last week, FBI, or what was it, 2 weeks ago, busted the mafia and the NBA for rigging NBA games, essentially, and other betting crimes. Everything's rigged. All your major sports are rigged. Now, today, we see this report. Multiple fighters confirm they've been asked to fix fights in the UFC, report out of Mediaite. So quite literally, from your politics to your sports to your economy, everything is freaking rigged up one side, down the other, against you and I for the aardvarks and the quote 0.0001% here now.
People don't realize that professional sports is the entertainment industry.
Here it is. These guys beat the hell out of each other in the UFC here, Ultimate Fighting, right? They literally beat each other to death. It is a gladiator sport here now, bred in circuses, as we're in the Great Reset. And so, what better than to announce a rigged UFC fight next year at the White House, which they've done. And going through this report, the controversy began Sunday when UFC reporter Ari Halawani revealed that featherweight fighter Isaac Delagrande had been released following his loss on Saturday. Delagrande was the favorite going into the bout, and suspicious betting activity flagged earlier cast doubt on the nature of the upset loss. A day later, Halawani revealed on his show that sources had come forward and told him they either were approached or knew a fighter who was approached with an offer to fix a fight for money. Like, is this even news? But now it's being reported, and we have the whistleblowers coming out and saying it. You know what I mean? So more, I mean, if you didn't know, this stuff's all rigged. And so be very careful with your betting unless you have inside knowledge, I guess, because they're there to take your money, and it's all rigged. And
people thought that this is somehow different than horse racing, right? Like, you know, they thought it was different.
they thought it was different than politics somehow.
Right. And you know, they believe in, you know, these different fighters taking drugs and doing all these things to get around the bans and USADA bans and everything else. But they wouldn't possibly take money, right? These people that beat the living hell out of the humans and the way that they talk about and degrade each other. Oh, they would definitely never be part of fixing a fight, right? Of course they would. And $70,000 is very small for how much you know, these people rigging to fight, betting on it.
There's more to this report.
Millions, they make millions, so very little money.
There's more to this report. On Instagram, featherweight fighter Lando Van Natta said he'd been approached a staggering 7 times. He then pointed to his record of 12, 7, and 2 as an indicator of his integrity. Quote, integrity. And there was a woman's strawweight fighter, Vanessa Dinopoulos, also took to Instagram to share her experience. She claimed she had been asked to throw fights on numerous occasions. And so it's all over the social media interwebs there, with fighters admitting they've been approached to rig fights, take a fall, take a dive, so on and so on. But they would never do that because UFC is being hosted at the White House next year, Thomas.
Yeah, and there's, of course, there's huge documentaries about this where fighters have fixed fights, and they've come out and admitted which fights that they've taken dives and they fixed. And there's been fixers in this sport for a long time. There's a long history of it in building up, you know, mixed martial arts, building it into something. It's the entertainment business. That's what it is. So they want to, you know, make these stars. They want to make these superstars, these likable people, these likable personalities. And there's all kinds of things that they do to you know, to rig and massage by not putting, you know, the number one and number one fighter against each other, where it'll just you know, you'll have losses on their careers or whatever. They will endlessly dance them around with all of these other people because it just makes more money. It makes way more money, and it's a money-based business. And Dana White talks about that all the time, right? And people talk about that. It's all about pay-per-view buys. It's about entertainment dollars. It's a dollars business. It's not a merit system. It's not the Olympics, right? I mean,
everything's rigged. Okay, ICE or Homeland Security ICE meme of the day here. As we know, they're understaffed during the government shutdown, but they still have some social media posters posting from the Department of Homeland Security. You have a choice. And they're talking about self-deportation here. You can go to dhs.gov/CBP home, and you too can self-deport. You can go here and get the mobile app for your phone for self-deportation. Sorry about that. Had a my ad blocker act up there. But yeah, go ahead and self-deport with the self-deportation app. They're brought to us by the Department of Homeland Security. There you go. Okay.
How wonderful, right? You can self-deport. No new laws for people to come in. Just the Trump's golden visa for $5 million for the uber rich, flaunting this around. Nothing for small business people to come in and make the small businesses that create all the jobs. Only for the rich elites to come and retire in America or something, bring in 5 million plus. They got to purchase. They need to spend, dump, light on fire $5 million. Who has that kind of money? There's so few people that have that kind of money to just light on fire for a pass into America. This is the uber wealthy people of the world. So this is not something that's encouraging job creation. These people just light this on fire, a fee to the government, and then they're inside. That's not That's not your small businesses, which are the engine of growth.
As the Trump administration has proven time and again, they're strong supporter of human rights, constitutional rights, civil rights, and natural law by the $5 million citizenship golden ticket from Trump. Okay, Epstein news came out today. We touched on that briefly earlier. Newly unsealed court documents show Jeffrey Epstein, Democrat hoax that the Trump administration's covering up for, most likely because Trump is part of said international underage child sex trafficking ring. But it's a Democrat hoax, according to the Department of Justice, the FBI, and Trump. Jeffrey Epstein held accounts at Goldman Sachs and HSBC's Swiss private bank, according to a report out of Reuters today. And so those banks shall be, given a bonus for banking with the most infamous child sex trafficker of all time, Jeffrey Epstein. Thomas?
Yeah, well, and none of those CEOs are going to jail for doing any of that, of course, and of course not, right? They're not under investigation, these bankers, for any of that. But hey, if you're using a little bit of crypto, they're talking that's illicit money, supposedly, right?
You're a damn terrorist. You're a damn terrorist.
Right. It's illicit financial flows, but you definitely you're not going to see any investigation into these aardvark bankers that are funneling money to the child trafficking of these.
You're going against the international order, as Henry Kissinger told us. You're a damn terrorist.
Yeah, the list doesn't exist. There's no list. There's no list. There's no list. About the 50 to 70 victims that have witness statements in Congress, I guess they all don't exist. Also, the hundreds of victims of the Epstein estate lawsuits and so on, they all don't exist either. Certainly, they've provided the lists of who these people were right in those lawsuits and so on in the courts. But they're just gaslighting you, lying to your face that the list doesn't exist. Of course, there's lists, and they have the lists of who those people are. So for them to claim that there's no list, I mean, it's the most in-your-face lying bullshit that has ever been said to you. So hopefully people realize that.
Saudi Arabia's request to buy up to 48 U.S. F-35 jets has passed key Pentagon review, but still needs high-level approval. Aardvark Land is currently the only West Asia country operating the F-35. Report out of Reuters. What else do we got? They're doing the COP30 UN climate summit right now. It's going on. Let's hear from UN head Antonio Gutierrez about that scam.
Must arrive at the upcoming COP30 meeting in Brazil with concrete plans to slash their own emissions over the next decade while also delivering climate justice to those on the front lines of a crisis they did little to cause. Just look at Jamaica. The clean energy revolution means it is possible to cut emissions while growing economies. But developing countries still lack the finance and technologies needed to support their transitions.
There you go, Thomas. So you're part of the green energy revolution that the UN chief is talking about right there, right? They've welcomed you with open arms at these international institutions with your breakthrough clean energy innovations.
Yeah, they've never funded a single breakthrough energy innovator in their 80-plus year history. They tell you directly that that's not our mandate, Thomas. That's not our mandate. That's not our mandate. I mean, they tell you with an attitude of disdain, of disgust, of anger that you would ever possibly ask. They don't even bother to go looking. They all know that this is not a supported program, and they lock everything into Slolar. Okay, Slolar, wind, etc. They earmark these different programs, and if you're not one of those, then it's got to go through like a whatever, a 35-year process before that will be added to its own siloed off program or something. They've never supported a startup. They've never funded a startup. They never promoted them. They grift off them. So they will even make a video about some of them, delete their contact information, the names of the people, the names of the startup, but show their a unique thing that they're doing that helps whatever country they're helping or something like that. And the World Economic Forum does that as well. And they, I mean, these people are the biggest fraudsters and scammers in human history. They say these countries lack the technologies, but we're definitely not going to fund any of the technology innovators in there. And there's over 15,000 climate and clean tech startups on a single list, and these guys have never done a single thing for any of them. It's only $20 billion to fund every single one of them on that
See,
list.
it is true they lack the technology, but they don't tell you the rest of the story due to lack of funding, right?
Right. But they spend $3 trillion a year on climate propaganda worldwide, and they won't even fund $20 billion one time to fund those 15,000 climate.
Well, as we know, it's not about solving the alleged climate change 1.5 degrees boiling point spontaneous combustion, freaking rise in temperature. They tell us is going to cause us all to burst into flames. It's not even about that, right? And as you've established and we know, it's not even about any of that. It's about control. Is what it's about.
They admit that to you when you walk in there, and it's surprising. And it's a long time ago, I used to be naive to it and think that they would have to do something about this. There's got to be somebody. I couldn't believe that it would be this bad, that it would just be 100% every last person in those institutions completely corrupt, or just a government NPC Borg hive mind drone who just doesn't give a shit. But it is that bad in these fake institutions. They're 100% drones. They're just there for the paycheck. They couldn't care less, and they just do what they're told, and that's it. And they just don't care. Nobody cares. It's all fake. It's all fake virtue signaling and fake PR, fake marketing. These people are all complete full of shit liars to the last man. Every single one of them. I've never found an exception. I've solicited over 600 climate orgs, over 450 NGOs. The only ones that ever respond to you, and almost none of them ever respond to you, they're angry. They snarl at you, angry that you would dare ask them for help or funding or support or something like that. It's just so shocking. I visited countless offices, and you never get anywhere with these people.
Do you know what your carbon footprint of your inquiry was with us here now, Thomas? You owe some carbon taxes for this. I hope you know.
Right. I even at one point offered to solar the office of the World Bank in Cambodia, the World Bank office. I offered to solar the roof for free. Can you even think they're talking this bullshit and they don't solar their own buildings? Can you imagine? I mean, it's just so. Well, I offered to do it just so I could brag and use it as a marketing, and they didn't even care. They don't even care. They couldn't care less to have somebody do this. They don't give a shit. I mean, it's like another thing that they'd have to do, or So they don't want it because it's to be another thing that they have to do. That's not right. They just want to go to, fart around on Facebook or something. They don't want to do any work. So you got Gutierrez there talking a bunch of flap. What's happening at the actual offices is fully effing zero.
We're saving the world. We're saving the world from spontaneously combusting. Okay, continuing here in the news, U.S. to seek UN sanctions on ships accused of violating North Korea embargo. Nigeria rejects Trump's baseless claims of Christian persecution as U.S. threatens military action in Nigeria.
Well, of course they would with Muslim government. Of course they would, right?
China firmly opposes U.S. intervention in Nigeria. Trump weighs multiple options for Venezuela. According to the failing New York Times, airstrikes on military bases, deploying Navy SEALs to kill or capture Maduro, securing oil fields, controlling airfields. Decision is pending. As expected, oil, part of it, Venezuela's biggest proven oil reserves. And so
once again, America, the Rockefeller Council of Foreign Relations going after the energy, what they have always done and what they always will do. Meanwhile,
it's the drugs, Thomas. He's keeping us safe from the drug traffickers. It has nothing to do with the large reserve, alleged biggest in the world reserve of oil there in Venezuela. Nothing to do with that. It's all about keeping the children safe from fentanyl.
And what's the biggest drug coming out of Venezuela? Of course, it's the oil. It's the black drug, the great black drug, of course. And
that the world is addicted to, indeed.
Right. And intentionally addicted. And you notice how Gutierrez never says, hey, guys, we care about clean energy so much and these new technologies. Let's get rid of the bans of the NATO states, the Israel-controlled NATO states, the 17 NATO states. Let's get rid of their bans on all of this clean energy technology. They've banned over 4,000 technologies. Can anybody send me the clips of Gutierrez talking about this and campaigning to get rid of the bans on technology innovators? You can't even build any of this in his EU as well, right? You might as well call it the entire EU. Add 30 countries to that because they're not allowed to do it there either, right? I mean, you'd be murdered in there. Actually, Europe's number one breakthrough energy innovator, a recent guy who had 30 patents. I met with him and his team. I was offered funding by a Chinese, very shady mafia kind of group of people. I was offered some help to get some crypto funding. I said no to them. And this guy said yes. He got funded, and then he was promptly assassinated after that, after he built his first factory, just doing the first simple thing they wanted him to do, which is a slightly better solar panel. And he was assassinated. So he was not allowed to do his, that was in 2018, October 2018, when he was assassinated.
I'm sure he spontaneously combusted.
And Gutierrez never talks about that guy either, or any of this. So it just shows you how totally fake that these people are, how just pathetic.
That's a good segue to fake. Here are Venezuela is preparing to be invaded by the United States. Venezuela rolls out weapon decoys, so fakes to head fake U.S. drones and other weapon systems that are looking to blow up Venezuela. Let's take a look at this video of some of the fake weapon decoys that Venezuela is rolling out before the big U.S. attack. There you go. Paper mache cannons, fake scarecrow soldiers, Looks like they're getting ready.
Yeah, and what will they do? They'll cut a deal with Maduro and say, you know, part of the deal is we're going to do a massive psyop to project American power to the world, and we're going to make this war, make it that we took you over and we did all of this,
Maybe.
whatever. And
Maybe.
then we'll give you billions of dollars and allow you to continue selling oil into America as you're doing now. Otherwise, we'll break your balls, and eventually they'll go along with it, right?
Maybe. Is Putin's weapon system real? Putin is bragging today. They're rolling out all kinds of new weapon systems. Putin says we have begun serial production of the Orezhnik system, which they've given to Belarus here now. Their alleged hypersonic missile that is unstoppable, allegedly. More on Russia missile development here. Putin said today the development of the Berezhnik and Poseidon has historic significance for the entire 21st century. In terms of flight range, the Berezhnik has surpassed all known missile systems in the world. Is this real? I don't know, but that's what they're saying. Pumping up. Let's hear from Putin now, the most evil man in the world, YouTube, whose unprovoked invasion of Ukraine continues to threaten Europe. Okay, let's hear from Putin now on the threat of Russian new advanced missile technology being rolled out.
Friends, our country is not threatening anyone. Like any other nuclear power, Russia is developing its nuclear potential, advancing its strategic potential. All of the things that we are talking about today are the results of work that has been announced years ago. All of the plans to create these new promising weapon systems and develop our military sector to provide our army with modern equipment and modern weaponry are underway as planned. I'm talking about providing the troops with the avant-garde system or the serial production of the Orezhnik missile system. We have equipped our intercontinental ballistic missiles used on our submarines with systems to overcome the adversaries' anti-air systems. And in fact, soon the heavy intercontinental Sarmat missile will be put into service.
They're saying that one's nuclear powered. I don't know if we can believe any of this, but that's what they're saber rattling about. UN warns of atrocities of mass displacement as UAE-backed RSF continue attacks in Sudan. We've been reporting on that, how the UAE is funding these terror groups committing genocide in Sudan. And so we've covered that tragically. Yemen, the only, apparently the only Arabs that will have any will, them in Iran, to stand up to the aardvarks. They say a new full-scale confrontation with aardvark land is imminent. So that's not quite over, even though U.S. bombing has stopped. Leader of Yemen's Houthis, Ansarallah, this dude right here, we played him before. He said, we emerged from this round stronger than before on all levels, and we are inevitably heading into a new round of confrontation with the enemy. We are inevitably heading toward a full-scale confrontation with the enemy because stability will not remain in the region so long as the occupation continues there in Palestine. And so they'll say, why are they attacking us from Yemen, these damn Houthi terrorists? And they're telling you because you're occupying Palestine. And they'll say, well, they're damn terrorists.
They're against the Jew or Aardvark International World Order, so that equals terrorists, right?
Wikipedia co-founder Jimmy Wales demands a rewrite of Gaza genocide page over anti-Aardvark bias. And so we do need to censor up the genocide information on the Wikipedia, obviously.
And the other founder of it is saying the opposite, is endlessly criticizing the total hijack of Wikipedia, of his invention, actually, the total hijacking. And he actually happens to be Jewish as well. And he's against it. He's not a Zionist, and he's not for the censorship either, interestingly enough. Though, right, the Zionists claim that all Jews are Zionists. But here we found at least one that's not. Never mind the millions of anti-Zionist Jewish protesters in Israel right now that you will definitely never see in one time in all of your life in the last 50 years from any of the Zionist mainstream fraud news media. Not a single interview, not a single video, yet there's hundreds of thousands of these people that have protested even in America, on American soil, and they definitely, right, don't want anybody to think that that's going on.
Sounds antiseptic to me. So there's a ceasefire over there in Gaza brokered by Trump. In the last 24 hours, Gaza hospitals have received 4 dead bodies, including 3 newly killed and 1 body recovered, and are reporting 7 injured. Heavy artillery fire and bombing in southern Gaza by the Aardvarks reported earlier today. And so that's your ceasefire there in Gaza. It means keep on stacking bodies. Here is a Republican out of Florida, Randy Fine. He says, Aardvarks have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our fault. See, it's never been their fault, and it's just antiseptics throughout history who have always kicked them out.
I am here to fight, and we are in a time where we need fighters. We need people to go out and fight. We need people who are not going to be afraid, because if we stay silent in the face of what is coming, not only on the left, but on our own side as well, our time in this country could come to an end as well. Jews have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our own fault. And there are people who would like to do the same to us here. And unfortunately, some of them are in our own party. But I can promise you this.
It's never been their own fault all throughout of history, Thomas. It's always these damn antiseptic haters.
He says ours, so he's Jewish then.
Yeah, he's Aardvark. Yeah.
Well, we could, I guess, obviously their plan here, I've shared a link here. Here's the plan of Palantir, what they want to do with all of the antiseptics, like our audience here. This is what they want to do. This is what they're doing here. A new type of missile they're using to demolish the remaining homes in eastern Gaza. Miniature nuclear bombs. So will these be hitting American soil soon? Will they be hitting American houses? When you post, if you dare post an antiseptic video on YouTube or your social media, they're just going to nuke you from the sky, right? You'll be on the toilet, and Larry Ellison watching you, counting how many sheets of paper you use, doing you such a wonderful favor as your SNAP benefits are cut off, and all of a sudden, your neighborhood will be erased, and they'll just rename it to Gaza, call you a terrorist, of course, because you are against the Aardvark world order, you see.
Seems reasonable. We reported yesterday how the same weaponized drones used to genocide Gaza are now being used to patrol U.S. cities by, what the heck was the name of the company? Sky Dio. And so, yeah.
We got a commenter here that says the blast film preys on his mind. And I noticed that the same guy made a comment before saying he's pumping the climate change propaganda, the fraudaganda. He said, think of climate change as a refrigerator filling with water until you notice it dripping out of the top and you ignore it, but then the door falls open, right? So then, the idea of the water coming out and flooding everybody. And it's interesting to see somebody who gets it that, okay, this Zionist mass murderers, you have these lefties who admit, and they're fighting, oh, Zionism is fascism and corruption, whatever. But they've been totally frauded against themselves to not even realize who actually made the whole climate change propaganda. It was the aardvarks, it was the Zionists who frauded up this entire idea, and they admit this. There's an endless documentation and documentaries about this where they are endlessly talking about this and admitting the entire idea of climate change is for the purpose of achieving a one world government, totalitarian Zionist dictatorship under their control, subverting all democracy, subverting all human rights, making their communist dictatorship a Zionist hellhole of total enslavement of the world. So these people pumping this climate change propaganda are literally the useful idiots of the Zionists that they say that they're against. You need to pick a side. You can't you can't be for them and against them at the same time. These people, they don't realize how frauded that they are. So they've got the left-right paradigm of brainwashing, so that they've got you where they want you. They've made you into Borg hive mind, and you're completely twisted around on yourself. And they've got both sides, both the left and the right, frauded against themselves in their best interests. You need to wake up. There's no the world is not ending because of plant fertilizer in the sky. It's ending and being deliberately ended by these Zionist criminals who are using every possible policy they can to achieve totalitarian control.
Thomas, photosynthesis is antiseptic. All right. So there's that. Massive warehouses in Jordan are packed with supplies, humanitarian aid, but deliveries are being barred by aardvarks from entering Gaza. And so the siege there continues. And aardvark settlers shooting Palestinian farmers in the West Bank, trying to manage the olive harvest over there, as we continue to report. And then,
well, hey, if you're a lefty, you can't dare criticize those aardvarks shooting the Palestinians, because they're creating the climate regime.
True.
Right? They're creating the climate. They're saving us from climate change. So how dare we can't criticize
they are
them.
destroying the olive orchards in the West Bank, and so that is helping with the climate change. So yeah.
Well, Bill Gates says we should cut down the trees for climate change. So hey, thanks.
The settlers are following his commands. So yes, indeed.
I guess Def Tears, this guy Def Tears in the comments, I guess he's so happy about cutting down those trees because Bill Gates said to save the world from climate change, we need to cut all the trees down. And now Bill Gates says that climate change is fake because Trump cut off his climate.
I saw that. People are shocked. I'm shocked. Damn it! I want my climate change, Bill Gates. You used to be my doctor. You used to be my environmentalist. Now you're literally just nothing anymore. I mean, bring back climate change, Bill Gates, man. Come on. Next thing you know, he's going to come out and say the miracles never saved anybody. I'm getting very disappointed in Bill Gates' dystopia.
Well, he did say the flu shots don't work. He did say that many times.
That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. I won't have it from Bill Gates.
But it's taking too long. The method to achieve climate change with the injections is taking too long. That's what they said also. So we got to step this up and go to the new technology that's much amped up, is what they said as well, right? So he's going to dedicate his $200 billion to Africa to achieving with vaccines, right? Achieving
the most vulnerable.
Achieving climate progress with injections. Interesting.
There you go. And targeting the most vulnerable. Okay, let's wrap up the show here.
Because you are, and they are, the carbon that they want to reduce.
We have, how long is this? Like a 7-minute clip from 9/11 to Dick Cheney, the Aardvark art students working inside the World Trade Center. Let's close out the show with that quickly. It's like a 7-minute clip in honor of the death of Dick Cheney today. Over on the Odysee, Gurr and John are over there. Is Cheney dead? I have to dance a jig. The evil bastard has finally gone to hell. Indeed, John. Indeed, it's being reported. I don't know. His ghost may still haunt us, though, I do believe.
And thank you, God, for that. That eventually, at some point in time, all of these evil bastards will die and burn in hell. Thank you, God, at least for this.
See, John said, see, Carp is on our side. He cares about the little people. Yeah, I just said it. He cares about it. If it was Yale grads being overdosing on fentanyl, then we'd already blown up the whole world. But since it's Joe Blow plumber, then who effing cares? Nobody does, but Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir.
Who needs a fake girlfriend AI app, right? A fake a porn girlfriend AI app from Scam Fraud Man. Who needs one of those when Karp and Larry Ellison are listening to your phone and watching you on the toilet? Just say, hey, guys. Hey, Alex. Hey, Larry. How's it going? You always got someone to talk to right there.
Never feel lonely again. But there's many reports in public health about the loneliness epidemic. Don't you worry. The all-seeing eye of Big Brother is looking right at you. So you're never alone. Don't feel lonely at all.
Right. All you lonely men, at least you got 2 aardvarks to talk to anytime you want.
The ghost of Cheney is no more than a fart in the wind. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in on the Odysee, the Kick, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, of course, the comments coming through. Thank you very much. And the Rumble, as always. Thank you everybody for tuning in and commenting. Let's wrap up with this clip. And as always, everybody, do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll be back here on Wednesday for more Weaponized News. Again, here's from 9/11 to Dick Cheney, the Aardvark art students. See everybody tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening.
I'm going to take you to Dick Cheney. Fasten your seatbelt, and this is going to absolutely blow you away. I would like you, if you can do this on your computer, to go to methodicaldeception.com, and when you open that up, on the navigation bar you'll see where it says resources, and you'll want to click on that resources. And then there's a big box that says about the Israeli art students at the World Trade Center. Click here. Click on that and tell me when you get to that page that has some photographs, because this is the elephant in the room that nobody wanted to talk about. And this is one of the documents, a 61-page DEA document that I went over and over and over and connected Israeli Mossad bomb experts to an art group that were traveling around the United States, and to an art group that gave themselves the name of Gelatin. So are you there?
I'm there.
So you got those pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to take you to Dick Cheney. Just listen up. You're looking at those pictures. Those are some Israeli art students that came from a foreign country, and their art project was called B Thing. They called their team the Gelatin Group. And just so you understand this, gelatin is often referred to gelignite or blasting gelatin. It's also referred to as blasting jelly, but gelatin, and they later on changed their name because people started waking up to this. So they named their name Gelatin. They called their art project the B Thing, and you will see on the left-hand side a photograph of the title page of their book. And what the B Thing was there was a group called the Lower Manhattan Cultural Center that was renting the 91st floor, or allowed to live on the 91st floor. These foreign art students, and some of them were connected to a group of traveling art students that were all over the country that the DEA found out about because they were going door to door to some of their agents' homes and their offices. And some of the offices were not public locations. So they were like, who are these people? There's Israeli students trying to sell us art. This was just a smokescreen. So you wouldn't go to where we're about to go. Now, the guy in the pink shirt, he's on the top right-hand side. Yep. Kind of pink shirt on. He has repelling gear on. Yep. They removed a window. This was their art project. They put a wooden balcony out, and they had photographs taken via a helicopter that was rented by their sponsor from the Lower Manhattan Cultural Center. And that particular gentleman also had a big party to celebrate this event, and he rented part of the top floors of the Millennium Hotel. You'll remember that from 9/11, and who was there, the Bush relative, and took pictures and had a big champagne party watching this. Okay, look behind the gentleman in the pink shirt. You're going to see two big bold numbers. It says BB18. Those are fuse holders. Now look at all three pictures and look at how many boxes of plastic fuse holders that can be used for remote control demolition. And ask yourself, why would art students from Israel and Austria be having thousands of fuse holders? This building was built in the early 1970s. They weren't electricians. They weren't redoing all of the electricity in that building. You know, think about this. Okay, so I get this book out, I'm waiting for my shipment of books to show up, and I literally had a voice say to me, look into this. Those fuses, by the way, come from a company called Littel Fuse, Littel Fuse Company. They're located in Chicago. And some little voice said to me, take a look into this Littel Fuse Company, where all of those fuse holders behind those artists are. And now some of those artists are guaranteed Mossad bomb experts. And that's in the DEA document that you can read. So I find out that Littel Company is a subsidiary of a corporation called Tracor, Tracor. Now, Tracor, they went bankrupt and split their company. They were a government contractor. They split them off into Tracor Aviation, Littel Fuse, and Tracor Defense Holdings. They're based in Austin, Texas. They were bought out by Westmark Systems. Bobby Ray Inman was the chairman of Westmark at a point. Then Westmark kind of started losing it, and Tracor bought them back. Tracor bought out a company called Vitro, which used to be the Kellex Company. Let me tell you about Kellex Company. The Kellex Corporation was a wholly owned subsidiary of M.W. Kellogg, as in cereal, you know that guy, Kellogg Company. Kellex was formed in 1942, so Kellogg's operation relating to the Manhattan Project could be kept separate and secret. Kel meaning Kellogg and X meaning secret. The new company's goal was to design a facility for the production of enriched uranium through a gaseous diffusion technique. In gaseous diffusion, isotopes of uranium-235 could be separated from uranium-238 by turning uranium metal into uranium hexafluoride gas and straining it through a barrier material. Now, this is kind of interesting too, so for those of you who remember that originally the first responders were getting calls that there was a missile launched from the Woolworth building. The newly formed Kellex Company's original headquarters were in the Woolworth building in Lower Manhattan. I know, it's just another coincidence, isn't it? They later on moved to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. But now, the Kellex Company, you will know them today. Here we are, fasten your seatbelts, as Halliburton.
Dick Cheney's old company.
There you go. I told you I was going to take you to Dick Cheney.